Welcome back to the DRIPBaR Edina for another episode of IV Interviews. I'm your host, Shea. Today's guest, we got Chase. He plays for Edina, multi-sport athlete. Before we get into the IV bags that we got hooked up today, Chase, tell the people a little bit about yourself, your athletic career, and who you are.
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks for having me out here today, and nice to get a little drip and hydrate up for sure. So yeah, I'm like you said, Chase Bjorgaard from Edina High School. Play right now in baseball season, but hockey and football before.
Right down their throats. Chase Bjorgaard with a couple of blocks up front went to the short side twice with big yardage.
State champions this year for hockey or for football. Sorry, not quite there for hockey. Runner up, but 2023 for hockey. We got
back in 2023 for hockey.
Runner up this year, and then hopefully we can make a state championship run this year for baseball. I mean, we got the team for it, I think, and we've been there twice now throughout my high school career, and that's kind of been new for Edina. Kind of the same thing with football as well. We never really had a program, and I think our class has kind of changed that narrative around like some sports, and so yeah, it's been super cool to be able to kind of change the history and narrative around Edina, I would say.
Yeah, it's for sure been a hockey school over the years, right? Yeah. But now they it seems like they've really leveled up and stepped up across the board, and so you've had a busy year, a busy high school career of sports. You've been playing up for a couple of years, and with that, it's important to stay hydrated. So you've been coming and doing IV therapy. Today we have the All-Star drips, which we're both hooked up to, which helps with energy recovery and muscle recovery as well. We have the LR version, which also has extra electrolytes. So for Chase and myself, I'm in the middle of a 145-mile month for marathon training, Grandma's Marathon. So we're in it for performance and hydration with the All-Star drip. So it sounds like, it was funny, the first time that I came here, I bumped into you. I was hooked up to my IV. Sounded like you had experienced cramping a little bit previously, and you started coming to the DRIPBaR. How did you find out about IV therapy? Because I feel like that's rare for maybe high school kids or younger people to look at other alternatives to hydration and health. What brought you to IV therapy, and what's kind of been your experience then, coming to the Edina DRIPBaR?
I think it all started my football year, and I feel like me and my dad were kind of like joking around, like Christian McCaffrey, he got IVs or whatever. But I feel like it's really helped my performance because I was cramping. I would get like double calf cramps in the third, fourth quarter. After half, you'd go in and then kind of cool off and then come back out. And I remember I really struggled with it then. But yeah, I think it was after like my junior season, like my first game, I got that, and I was like, I can't play like this, so got to figure something out. And then I think I found this place somehow, and they've been great so far. I started getting the All-Star, like you said. I was kind of just like, yeah, I play sports. Like, oh, get this one. It'll do this for you. It'll help you out. And the results showed right away. I was able to play the full 4 quarters, felt fresh the whole time. And I think kind of an underrated part is, like how fresh you feel, kind of as I was saying. So I was able to get through the whole game, but especially at the start too, I'd be like, I thought my energy levels were a lot higher. And I think something that's also important too is kind of figuring out like when you should get it. I think like originally I'd get it the day of, but then I think I got the best benefits the day before the game. So I started doing that this year, and I thought the results were even better and felt even more fresher out there. So yeah, that's kind of my experience with figuring out about this place and being able to get here.
Yeah, I think you made a couple good points. I think definitely noticing at least a day or two before your performances, right? Making sure that the electrolytes and the vitamins have been absorbed into the body, because you want that magnesium and potassium for the muscles to fire, for the fourth quarter to keep going. I noticed it the most. The reason I started, I would get to miles 17, 18, 19, 20, double hamstring cramps.
Those are the worst.
My family's trying to take pictures. I'm on my knees cussing my little brother out, just trying to get through through the marathon. But I can imagine. I played football, especially in Minnesota. You go through, it's cold weather in the first half. Your muscles are just getting loosened up. You're getting in a rhythm. You go into halftime. You try to get hydrated. You try to stay loose. But, running backs take such a pounding. You're going through taking tough hits, sweating, heat of the game. I'm sure your body's trying to, you're going through a car crash your body's trying to recover and perform at the same time. Getting that stuff in your body a whole day before, I'm sure I've noticed it in my runs, just the endurance, I don't burn out as quick. Yeah. You can almost, like you said, you can almost feel like the mentality to push through the fourth quarter has always been there, and now you probably feel your body is right there with you now, right? And so it's cool. I mean, you've experienced that with football, but you play 3 sports year round. You know, in my day, they started to really talk about how you need to specialize, right? What's been able to help you keep up with 3 different sports? I mean, the practices, the schoolwork, the games, taking care of your body. You know, have you been able, is there a routine, is there a balance you've been able to find over the last couple of years at a young age to be able to handle all 3 sports still?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you're younger, you don't have to do as much because, you know, you're just kind of out there having fun. And then, you know, a lot of like these toddlers, you'll see them like take a crazy fall and be like, and then all of a sudden they're like fine. Yeah. So, you know, playing when you're younger, you don't have to think about that as much. But definitely like when you get older, even though I'm only in high school, you still kind of start to feel some of the side effects and stuff. So kind of weird saying, getting older.
I mean, freshman to senior year, it's a different physicality.
Yeah.
You're getting a little bit more beat up after those games.
For sure. And especially playing, like you said, 3 sports or 3 seasons, you know, it's always go, go, go. It's never more than like a week of an off season for me pretty much. So
that's the thing. There is no off season for you. I mean, and it's probably even you have baseball practice and then you have a football workout or something the same day. So I mean,
that's exactly what it was in the summer. It'd be like, I mean, we had an away tournament in Alabama this year for our summer team, and then we ended up winning it. So it was like we played forever. And then we got home, and then the next day we drove to Wisconsin. So we were gone from home for like 2 weeks, and then it's like you get home, and then you get like Sunday off, and then 4 days of football workouts.
Right.
And then you go to the next tournament. So yeah, it's been a lot. But I think kind of getting back to the point, just kind of learning your body, because I've dealt with some injuries, but nothing like major, but just kind of like some soft tissue stuff and whatever. So I feel like kind of from that standpoint, just making sure like get like a foam rolling plan, kind of stretching out and stuff. I think that's really been able to help me stay healthy kind of throughout the course. And then even like kind of preparing before, like you said, hydration coming here, obviously super important.
Right.
But even if like you can't or whatever, just getting like the electrolytes in, and obviously water kind of throughout the whole day before like a performance, or like if you got like big practice or anything coming up, I think that's important too.
Yeah, because this is an aid, right? Like we don't want to just rely on this for our hydration. Like I'm a gallon to a gallon and a half a day pushing electrolytes. But it's funny, I'm thinking back to my AAU days, and sometimes you're playing 7 basketball games in a weekend, right? And you're drinking Gatorades between it. I mean, you're rotting your teeth with sugar and everything. Probably wasn't the best thing for us. It would have been nice to, know about this stuff. I'm 32 now. It's funny talking about being younger, you don't have to do as much. Now it's like if I sleep wrong, I feel like my neck is done for the week.
I haven't gotten quite there yet, but I mean, we might get there.
Well, hopefully you got a couple more years.
Yeah.
But it's funny to think about just what you were capable of at that age. But there is a difference once you reach kind of the senior level. Your body does, you get to college and whatnot and slowing down. But obviously nutrition and nutrients, whatnot, very important in your diet. But we wanted to ask, does it fuel you, or does it bother you at all when people say Edina people are cake eaters? Because obviously you really care about nutrition and whatnot. Does that ever get to you during the games, or when people talk about some of that stuff? Or?
I mean, there's definitely some trips that could kind of get to me a little bit, but I don't think that's one of them, to be honest. Just because it's like I remember from being like 3rd grade or whatever, and my family's originally from Edina, so we kind of moved here, and they're like the cake eaters, and I was kind of like embrace that. I didn't realize that was like a bad thing for a while, or like supposed to be. I don't even know what the whole origin story is behind it, but so yeah, no, that doesn't exactly get to me, but
yeah, it is funny how it's become such like a Minnesota brand to almost dislike Edina just for that reason. It is unfair, but then you go to like the state hockey tournament and it's being chanted. Like, I feel like as an athlete, as a competitor, that would almost, no matter what they're saying about my school, right? That it almost gives you that extra gear to be like, you want to shut up the whole stadium, right? So it is interesting that they try to use that against Edina, but seeing how fierce of competitors you guys are across the board now in baseball, football, hockey. I used to play against some basketball guys that went to Edina that, you know, it's probably not smart to poke the bear anymore with some of those jokes and whatnot. You know, it's you're gonna come and chant that stuff and then get your butt kicked by Edina isn't the best look for other people. But yeah, I guess, you know, is it weird seeing then like on social media, like if one of the influencers wears like an Edina jersey and you just see all the comments starting to come in? Is that kind of weird to see as a high school athlete of like, they don't even know who you are as an athlete or who the kids are, but yet it's just so accepted to kind of talk that way about Edina or school in general?
Yeah, I mean that definitely like, you know, it kind of pissed me off a little bit because they don't know you at all. They don't know like kind of your background and stuff. And you know, I feel like all of our teams, we got good kids, and I feel like there's a lot of other schools that I played against. Not calling anyone out specifically, but I feel like there's a lot of other schools that don't play with as much class in some situations.
Right.
And you know, obviously it's a competitive game. Everyone wants to beat us and stuff. So I get it at the same time.
Almost a badge of honor, right?
Yeah.
Like you're gonna come and get a lot of people's best game. Then.
Yeah, for sure. I think that is why Edina kind of has a lot of success, especially in hockey from a young age, because it's like you always got to be ready to go every night. Because even though if you're playing a team and they're like ranked last or whatever, like you're gonna get their best game, and if you don't show up, and then could be a close game. And you know, I feel like you kind of learn those lessons early, so then kind of later down the line in your high school career, and even like beyond that too, like you learn you got to show up every day and be ready to go every day.
Yeah. It almost sounds like there's a culture being built in Edina to support each other. You see these local businesses, the DRIPBaR sponsoring your football team, taking care of the athletes. So would you say there's kind of been a culture and a tone built to Edina now through its teams, its kids? I mean, the way that you approach it, you're a 3-sport athlete. Obviously, you take care of your body, you hydrate, you look into other stuff. Would you say maybe they're jealous of the cultures being built in Edina and they wish that their community went about their athletics the same way, or their community the same kind of direction that Edina's been going in?
You know, that could definitely be a part of it, but I mean, I think for the most part, it's just like kind of built in to everyone to just kind of hate us. So I mean, I guess there's a little bit of jealousy, but I think it's also just kind of like how much we've won in the past, especially in hockey. I think that's kind of where everything kind of roots from. So it's almost like Duke and
it's like being the Yankees.
Exactly, yeah.
You know, it's
like
people just love to hate you, but you're a good team and people are going to respect you,
Yeah.
even though they talk that way and whatnot. So, no, that's super cool. So, you know, after baseball season, you guys are going to be wrapping up, you know, June. Hopefully you're playing into the state tourney. Have you thought about what's after that for you? You know, have you decided, you know, if you want to continue to play one of the sports, multiple sports? Kind of what's next for Chase or on the horizon? Have you thought about it very much?
Yeah, so I was for sure able to rule hockey out for just because was never really a hockey family, and at the same time, like, was kind of rough on my back, and I don't know. I feel like I was a goalie, but I wasn't like, my body is not a goalie body, so I was not like as mobile as I should have been, and kind of led to a couple injuries. So I was able to rule that out for a while, and then football was kind of tough too because I never thought I would get anything this year, and then state championship, like 300 something 50 yards and 6 touchdowns. So then that kind of spiced things up a little bit for a while. But yeah, I mean, I feel like baseball's kind of been my best sport, and you know, I think I also think of it as my favorite because you know, just getting like a nice barrel home run, it's just so rewarding because, you know, 5 before that, 10 before that, you know, your potential strikeout, ground out, whatever you miss, and then it just makes you want the next barrel even more, or next hit or whatever even more. So I think as like a competitor, I've wanted to play baseball. So next year my options are still we're trying to figure it out here. Kind of throughout this spring, I got like a couple weeks left to figure out exactly where I'm going to go, or what level that's going to be. If I'm going to have to go JUCO route, which is seemingly more common, or I got some potential like D2 options, or even some D1 options if I can perform here early this spring.
Yeah, and you make a good point about baseball. I enjoyed baseball so much. I was a pitcher for a long time. I enjoyed it so much because it was a sport that was never over, because you always had to throw the ball over the plate at the end of the day, right? So there was always an opportunity to come back. The game was never going to be over until the last strike or the last out, right? So even as a batter, it was always fun you could have a full count, it could be 0-2, whatever it is. You know, you're just hoping that they give you something to hit again and put the barrel on it. And it's people who don't understand baseball don't understand how much of a chess match that ends up turning into. So something else I wanted to tap into was, so after we had met and I had gotten my first drip, I could tell how much Stacy, the owner here, cared about all of her customers and everything. Because then she emails me, because I had just started doing the drips, we started working together. She emails me and she's like, "Are you seeing Chase in the football field right now?" And it's during the state title game.
Yeah.
And I was like, like the guy that I met that was just sitting over here.
Yeah.
And I turned my TV on. I think you were running for your 5th or 6th touchdown. But you could just tell that she was super proud because she had known that you had came in, you had cramps before. To be a running back that has that many yards and that many touchdowns, I mean, even if no one's touching you, people don't understand. It's an intense run. The second that you touch that ball and that switch flips, I mean, you're in go mode, right? So your body's tensed up. Even if you're not touched, you are, you're running 100-meter sprints at that point. So I thought it was really funny to see Stacy email me and I turned that game on. What was it like playing in the state title game? I mean, was that your first one for football? Because you'd already kind of gotten a little bit of the experience with hockey.
Well, actually, my sophomore year, so that was before the hockey season. We kind of had like a similar year that year. It was like we're kind of okay in the regular season, then just got hot in the playoffs. And I mean, I can talk about it now, but so I was like I played linebacker my whole sophomore year, and then we had this like trick play in forever. It was like wolf right, 8 shovel, like whatever we called it then, like lion, I think. I just remember the formation, wolf right or wolf left. And so it was like a fake run to our running back, who was this absolute dog that year, and then shovel to me. So we come back in the state championship. We're down 28-14 with like 7 minutes left and kind of deflated. And then it's like we score, get a stop, score, and then like literally with like a minute left. So we're down 28-27. And then we decided to go for 2 and we run that trick play that's like, and then I ended up getting stopped at the 1-yard line. That was like so crushing for me, especially as a sophomore, and like all the seniors, they worked so hard for that. And I understood it at that point, especially after too. And I feel like I was really hard on myself. And I think that's part of the reason why, like, I wanted to play all 3 sports, because just like the kind of the pain, even of just losing that and feeling like you let your boys down. And then being able to, or just kind of wanting to win, So I think that's what made this championship so special, because it was a similar year. And then, I mean, I've always been a running back, but they just wanted to get me on my field my sophomore year. Right. So being able to get on the field and then, have that performance throughout even the whole season too, because, I mean, I'm getting like 40 carries a game or something crazy. And, every time I was running for that one play that I couldn't get, like, I was trying my hardest to get back. And, I think I can now say that I got that back from my sophomore year. So yeah, that was super special for me.
Yeah, and life's about adversity, right? So sometimes, falling up short by a yard, it stings in the moment, right? But life is about redemption, how you're going to come back from that. And, knowing that, it's almost like you could probably feel some of the energy or anger that you were running with that day then, of making it up to all those guys then, right? Even though you're a sophomore, that's a ton of pressure. At the end of the game, trick play, things can go wrong, ends up, being short. But as a young man, I mean, you're going to put a lot of that on yourself, right? Like, a lot of things happen in the game, and a lot of times, the last plays are going to be the ones that stand out the most. But what a cool story then to go from that happening, and I'm sure people then, you get down on yourself, other people get down on you, but then to come back through the years, work hard, play all 3 sports, and have a story like that, because would you say it was 250 yards and 6 touchdowns?
Boy, he got to be close to 200, doesn't he?
26 attempts for 286.
Oh my gracious, close to 300. Wow.
That's exactly what I was thinking when you said it. You think 200 yards, and you're like, wow,
I think it was 320 on the ground that had like 2 or 3 catches for like 20 or 30 yards, something like that.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy. And so, I mean, even the beating that your body goes through is insane for that stuff. I mean, what did you, obviously with winning the game, what did you feel like afterwards? Did you feel depleted? Like you had just left it all out there? Or did you feel like...
Yeah, man, I was so tired. I remember I was like walking back to the interview room, I was gassed because, I mean, you actually brought up a good point earlier about kind of like getting past like that second sprint, even just from this. And, you know, I got IVs before like a day or two before every football game that year. I remember it was probably third or fourth quarter, and it was like 4th and 1. And it was like our only time we got stopped on offense. We got stopped, and it was like a big point in the game. I remember I was so gassed. But then, like, literally the very next possession, it's kind of all clicking now. I feel like it could be, it was probably from the drip, to be honest, you know, because, I mean, like, you get to the sideline, I was so gassed, and all of a sudden I was able to just kind of snap back. And then literally the very next time I got the ball back, I had like a 60-yard touchdown. And, like, I was on the bench trying to think I could do it, to be honest. But, you know, just being able to kind of push through that physically, and then, you know, or kind of like you said too, you know, you got that mental strength, you want to do it, but like I don't know if I'd be able to do that like my sophomore year or whatever, because I don't think I was physically ready to do it or prepared to as well.
Right, and that's a part of growth. And with the drips, I mean, it is pretty interesting. I was definitely skeptical, and then the first one I had when you were in here, within the first 10 to 15 minutes, I started to feel like the hydration the first time, right? But now that I've been doing it bi-weekly or almost 3 times a week, it's like my sleep is better, my recovery is better, my endurance is better. I don't have brain fog. You know, I have clarity and thought a little bit more. And as you get older, you'll probably run into that a little bit more and whatnot. Being a little foggy, like in the morning for school or something. But I've noticed that as I've done it more and more, I've seen more of the benefits like outside of just performance then, right? And so I think it's really cool. Well, I appreciate you coming on the show. You know, we still got a little bit of our drip left, but is there anything else that you would want to tell people about IV therapy and your experience with the DRIPBaR Edina? I know you've talked a little bit about kind of how it's helped you with your performance, but anything that you'd want to add or anything that you think maybe people don't talk about with IV therapy, or if high school kids should, if they are, you know, in sports or athletics, you know, is it something that they should look into? Would you recommend that to other athletes around your age as well?
Yeah, for sure. You know, I feel like if you're like an athlete kind of going through the same situation as me, where you're kind of dealing with cramps or whatever you're doing, I think it's, you know, like I thought I was doing the right stuff, you know, get my water, get my electrolytes and stuff. But then it's like, I still was struggling with it in such an intense sport like football. So I feel like, you know, you definitely could be able to take care of yourself, but if you're dealing with that, and I feel like if you can't kind of get over that hump, I think this is a really important added benefit. And, you know, the nurses here are all super nice. I feel like everyone, you know, they'll talk to you for whatever, they'll get you whatever you want, you know, water or whatever. Like, usually you can pick your seat, but sometimes it's full in here. So like I like this corner over here with like the lay down, but you got you got a lot of options here. And like you said, you know, Stacy, she really cares about all of her customers. You can tell she has like a relationship with every single one. So I think that's really nice. It's kind of like you can come in here, you can feel comfortable, you can kind of relax. Especially like, you know, I've never been a big needle guy, but the nurses kind of help you just kind of relax, and you know, they know what they're doing. So usually it's pain-free and struggle-free.
Yeah, awesome. I think, yeah, the nurses and Stacy, they care so much. They do a great job. Me and our producer, videographer, Ty, he's got some tattoos, but he was terrified of needles as well. To see him come in and get an IV and do shots, I mean, I was proud to see him do it. I think there's a video on the page of him sweating and getting a little jittery and whatnot. And then he's like, oh, like that was it.
Yeah.
So it's cool to see. We've seen so many people with anxiety or who are nervous, to see this team be able to calm them down, get their IV in once they're in and going, and people feel good. And it's cool because everyone's coming here because they're depositing into their health, right? So it's cool that they just care so much about just getting people healthier. But yeah, it's awesome that this is a part of almost your pregame ritual, whether it's the day of or the day before. Because when I was your age, it was Call of Duty and pizza rolls for me. So I'm sure the science of athletes and whatnot, Uncrustables was that. I mean, that's what we were doing.
It's still there. I got a bunch of those in my freezer right now.
Yeah, so it's some of the old tricks are still around and whatnot. But I appreciate you coming on the show. We wish you all the best finishing up baseball. We'll stay tuned to see where you end up playing next year, whether it's JUCO. It's crazy with all the COVID and the backups of everything.
For sure.
It's become such a much more popular route now, or accepted route now, to go through JUCO to get to where you want to go. So if there's any support you need from the IV interview team, let us know. I'm sure Stacy will keep you hydrated and performing well.
For sure.
But yeah, enjoy the rest of baseball season. We appreciate you having on. And everyone else out there, stay drippy.